Hosted by Dr. Tamika Sanders and Cheyenne Stoom, Savvy Wisdom is a monthly interactive podcast for women who value their well-being and growth that highlights the unique challenges women face daily.
We talk about the relevant issues, their impact to our well-being, share expert insights, best practices, and provide resources and support for your journey right along with you. Dr. Tamika Sanders has 20 years of experience working with schools and businesses in the areas of training and development, public programming, and leadership development. Her work revolves around bringing a diversity of real-world perspectives into programming initiatives and creating strategic community partnerships that can generate revenue and provide access to resources and opportunities for marginalized groups.
Cheyenne Stoom is a multi-talented Cali creative with 20-plus years of extensive banking experience, with a proven track record for driving transformative change and fostering a culture of excellence through process improvement, DEI, strategy planning, and program management. She is also an entrepreneur and focused on intentional well-being, with multiple offerings that allow her clients to connect, learn, inspire, and grow.
For our season finale, we're reflecting on this incredible journey with you, taking a trip down memory lane and sharing lessons learned along the way. Plus, we'll dive into an inspiring conversation on resilience and reinvention in a chaotic world, offering tips and best practices to help you navigate life's challenges and strengths with purpose. Make sure to tune in. It's going to be a powerful way to close out the year together.
Hey! How are you doing?
Yes! We made it! We made it! We're here! We here.
Yeah,
we made
it
it
is
to
a journey.
the end of almost the end of 2024, and our 12th installment and episode of our Savvy Wisdom podcast, which has been an entire adventure. This whole an intentional adventure this whole year.
Whole year. Who would have known? Well, we did know when we were planning the episodes, but little did we know our lives were literally going to parallel the episodes. It's so crazy. So when we talk about manifesting, when we start planning out that year and planning out these episodes, we literally manifested our year. And so if you've been on this journey with us, I'm sure you have felt that same feeling. And if so, please share that with us, because we would love to hear your stories, your comments, because I know if we had a time, y'all had a time with us. But also,
yes. And also what I'm excited about is okay, yes, we were intentional with the planning of our episodes, but I just love how beautifully our story has come together and is setting us up for even our next story, right? This whole year, everything that we have been doing has prepared us for this moment, and has given us the gift of working to strengthen our resilience, and then also on us finding the skills and the tools necessary to actually reinvent ourselves in a chaotic world, literally. Right. And that's what today's episode is focused on. So if you have been following us throughout each episode, you actually have been getting the different things to help build your resiliency and reinvention. But now we're going to formally focus on it to solidify it. So let's get started here. So resilience and reinvention in a chaotic world refers to the ability to not only bounce back from challenges and setbacks amidst unpredictable circumstances, but also to actively adapt and transform oneself into thrive in a constantly changing environment, often marked by disruption and uncertainty. Essentially, it means embracing change as an opportunity for growth and evolution rather than a threat to stability. I mean, that's a whole sermon right there.
A whole sermon. Just amen on it, because but that's what it is. It's a lot. Just saying that resilience and reinvention in a chaotic world, those two things they are at kind of at war with the chaotic world, but if you hold on to them, they give you that bridge and that balance. And so thank you. We'll
Yeah.
talk about it today.
Yes. And that's the thing, like, as we were even planning for this episode, like realizing, like, okay, I think we've seen, like, it's never the chaos is never going. I don't think the chaos is actually ever going to end. I think it's actually just beginning. It is
Yeah.
just beginning. So, like, I am so thankful that we had the gift and the wherewithal and the foresight to intentionally go on this adventure today so that we could also be, okay, for lack of a better term, like shepherds to and stewards, right? Stewardesses to help others along on this journey. So I definitely do think that we should check in, and I'm going to ask the check-in questions so we can check in with you, Tamika, if you're ready.
Okay.
Okay. So, is your need for resilience or reinvention a result of circumstance, or is it a conscious choice?
Whew, that is such a full question there. So, is it a need of circumstances or choice? Well, this year it's been last year and the year before, it's kind of been a little bit of both. So, kind of circumstance, just when you have a good plan and you're working your plan and your plan is working, and then all of a sudden this curveball comes in and just blows your whole plan to bits, right? And then you have to really, really rethink, is that plan still what you want? And if so, how do you get back on it?
Yeah.
Not what you want, what do you now want now that things have changed and you've changed because of the circumstance? And so that happens. I was very comfortable, very happy. And then all of a sudden life happened and blew up all those plans. But it was for the looking back on it, it was really the best thing. Had I still been comfortable, Shy and I probably would not be doing this podcast. We would not be thinking about the amazing projects that we have coming up
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
2025. And so it really gave me a chance to look at it and say, without working for someone else, and if I didn't have to worry about money, what would I want to do? And why would I want to do it? And what is the purpose? And it really made me look for that and find things and manifest things that could help
Yeah.
me purpose. So first it happened out of circumstance, but I continued to reinvent myself out of choice because I realized it was so much harder to go back to that place, and it was much easier to move forward and embrace this new me that I'm becoming. And so what about you, Shy? Circumstance or
Ooh.
choice?
It same for me. It definitely started out of circumstance. It was not something that I necessarily willingly went into or volunteered to go into, right? But like you, it was probably one of the best things to ever happen for me because now I get to decide how I want to show up in this world. And now I get to decide what purpose it is or what vision it is that I'm going to be serving. I get to decide, I get to decide um what value I contribute, even though I will also even though I will say, my validation does not lie in me producing value, for other people. Like I I am a value simply by being.
Already valuable. Yes.
Simply by being. But I genuinely do feel as if um I knew I needed help with the resiliency part, and I think that's also why, like, my spirit knew and our spirits knew that we needed to go on this journey together the way that we went about it, so that we could hold ourselves accountable, so that we could look at ourselves and look at our lives in a way that we hadn't before, so that we weren't continuing to do the same and expecting different results, so that we could be prepared for something we've never seen before. And I feel like we absolutely have gone from passenger to driver. And that
Mm.
just makes me that makes me so proud of us for sure. Yeah.
Same. Oh my goodness. I love that you said that. You get to decide now how you show up, on what your purpose is and what you're willing and not willing to settle for. And it doesn't mean that everything you do is going to be having a high dollar value attached to it, but it is valuable because it's coming from you and you chose it, right? And you're owning it.
Yeah.
And it is going to have a lot of monetary value very soon. But I want
Yeah.
to think about when we think about resilience, especially as Black women,
Yeah.
so much of it. So like, oh, it's that stereotype, whether it's true or not, that Black women were strong, were resilient. And sometimes that resilience is looked at, it's kind of like what we call the myth of toughness. You think, oh, you're resilient, you're tough. And it goes back to that check-in question. You're not always being really resilient out
Mhm.
of choice. Sometimes it's survival, sometimes it's circumstance. So
Yeah.
never think about that resilience as someone being tough, because sometimes they have no other choice. They can either lie
Mm.
down and give up, or they can move on and they go. It's almost like what they say, courage, just because you have courage doesn't, or bravery doesn't mean that you're not scared. You're just doing it regardless. And that's so that myth of toughness, don't look at somebody and go, oh, you're so tough, you're so strong. It's like, no, I'm doing what I gotta do, and you need to be doing what you gotta do. And so I want
Yeah.
to, that is a lot. Like, right, Chai, do you hear that a lot, or you feel that need to be strong sometimes, even when you don't want to be?
Absolutely. And I think that's also what kicked it off for us and what sparked off our understanding that, hey, we were lacking some tools or lacking the skills to build our resilience in a healthy way. Um we were finding ourselves trapped in that superwoman mode of feeling like we have to look like we have it all together, don't talk about the challenges or the struggles because nobody wants to hear that, or like you're not going to, like, that's the other thing too. And I'm sure people who have experienced job loss and these extended like periods can probably relate to this, but you definitely find that people are not attracted, like they are not attracted to your fall or your fall off. They are attracted to your come up, right? And so like we've also been kind of conditioned to silently suffer, right? And then for a lot of us, because of this myth of toughness and feeling as if we can't speak up about the things we need help with, like we don't even know how to ask for help. And we definitely did talk about that in the superwoman syndrome as well as our support systems episode. So yeah.
Yeah. No, you definitely mentioned that being scared to speak up, right? We're not always in those positions where we are able to be supported, and speaking up and being resilient in that face of adversity sometimes is putting you directly in harm's way, financially, physically,
Ooh.
emotionally. And so there sometimes there is a cost to being resilient, especially in a time where everyone else is bending and you're choosing not to bend, right? You're choosing to stand,
Yeah.
what do they say,
10
ten toes
toes
down,
down.
right? On your purpose and and who you are and what you believe in. That doesn't always bode well for you. And so shout out to the people that continue to do that regardless when there's actual harm done. But when you think about resiliency, and there are what we call these kind of, there's seven, we did a lot of fun research on this, and there's these
Yeah.
seven C's of resiliency in this kind of theory. And I'll talk about a couple, Shy, that I love, and then I'll let you talk about some. But one is one, having the confidence. That is really knowing what it is that you are standing for, why you're standing for it, and the line that you will or will not cross. That's a really, really big one for me. And I think this journey of reinvention, right? And
Yeah.
finding that, I had to find what that new was for me, because I had been so used to doing things for other people. And I had to have that same urgency that I had to get someone else's stuff done to get my stuff done, because it was, if not more,
Mm.
it was more important, right, than someone else's.
Ooh.
That was right. I'm talking to you, right? And so it was, I had to learn that.
Yeah.
What am I, what am I worth? What is my time worth? And I can't afford to let someone else come into that, or take away that time and make it more important than my stuff. So that was one competence. Another one that I went through, and I think Charmaine, you'll probably both agree, is that contribution. It's being able to give back, right? And I think these episodes have so helped us be able to not only give back to each other, but give back to you, those that are listening, and those that share the podcast episodes. We're not only sharing our knowledge and experiences, but we're looking out in the research and also sharing that as well. So it's healing us and it's healing other people. And that's a big
Yeah.
for me. It's that each one reach one, each one teach
And
one,
teach one. Yeah.
and pay it forward. Like, I believe that so much, that we don't get here by ourselves, and it's up to us to keep giving back. So those are kind of those are the ones that I really like. What ones stand out to you most?
So competence and confidence go hand in hand for me because I believe it might have been earlier this year, and I have so many like I guess OneNotes and Apple Notes and whatnot of all these gems that I've collected, right? But I had seen something that talked about, how you build confidence through competence, and you build competence through doing. And this whole entire year, to help me with understanding what I was reinventing myself to, was getting that practice of trying things that I'd never tried before, and learning competencies and rediscovering competencies and building new competencies. Like, I know that for what it is that I need to be doing next, it's going to require me telling my story. It's going to be require me being getting more visibility, being more vocal, right? Being an advocate for what it is that I care about and that I'm passionate about, so that I can make my contributions so that I can make my contributions, right?
Mhm.
um and then that in turn has just like been has built my confidence. Like, I shared with you, I was binge watching our season, and it was like, oh my gosh, like, we really have come so far. Like, we really have come so far. And like, just seeing the ways that we even show up on each of these episodes, just standing a little taller, standing more securely and what it is that we've been sharing. And what I also love is that, and then the character. Good character refers to integrity, responsibility, and a fundamental sense of right and wrong. I think that has been a resonating theme for me in me building my resiliency, um, because I believe, because that has been lacking, because integrity has been lacking. We've talked about the what first drove the superwoman syndrome. We understand that a lot of this was born out of our trauma, right?
That's
A lot of this was born out of our trauma, and a lot of our trauma is rooted in inequity. Our trauma is rooted um in a status quo that does not serve us. Um and so so this year it's been also building the competency and the confidence to even just name it and speak on that. And then everything that I've been trying to do, whether it be something I'm trying to do for money or something that I'm studying in school, and how I'm blending it all together, it all connects to, okay, my brand, like not just my brand, but like, who is Cheyenne Doom, and does this
right.
align with how I am presenting myself to the world and what it is that I say that I want? Because how can I go into an organization and do an assessment to see if they are who they say they are, if I'm not who I say that I am?
Right.
The other
That's
piece
right.
is coping. So coping refers to the mechanisms that people utilize to deal with stressful situations in a healthy way, which allows us to be prepared to deal with difficult situations later in our lives. So brought it up that when I started my USC program, we started with the book called Mindset, and that helped in again, just having a healthy perspective of challenges and obstacles, and not sitting in despair, or sitting in despair, sitting in anxiety, sitting in stress, because we just don't have the capacity for that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The control one is the last one that we haven't really talked about. And that one, that's always been patience and control, because I don't have a lot of patience. I've had to learn it
Yeah.
having my kiddos. But control is something that I am a super control freak, but I try to. But when it comes to teamwork, I'm so much better at being able to kind of give and take. But on
Yeah.
normal stuff, who can on me when it's my things and I don't have anybody else involved. I'm super controlling, and so
Yeah.
I've had to, with this experience of things happening that are completely out of my control. I've really
Yeah.
had to get control. And one, you have to think about, with control and resiliency, you look at how your actions affect others, but also how others' actions and external things affect you as well. And knowing when to give up control and knowing when to take control. And so
Yeah.
it's been a really, because I'm good at taking control. Letting go of control has been the thing I've been learning, but it's also been really freeing to know that, hey, I don't have to, again, superwoman syndrome, right? I don't have to do all these things. I can let some of these things go. And it doesn't mean someone else is going to do them or not do them, but I don't have to be the bearer of all of that. So that's
You've
been a
seen that.
really great.
I'm sure you've seen that painting of the Black women sitting, sipping their tea and their coffee or whatever's in those mugs, sitting on top of the rooftop watching.
Yes. Oh, watching the whole world just
Yeah, like it's above
burn.
me now.
I have seen that, and I was like, that is gonna be me. I'm like, people just gonna be things gonna be
I want
falling
like
apart.
so
Like I'm
on the one hand, like rest is resilience, rest is a birthright because if you think about our history and the trauma that has been passed down within our DNA, we
yeah.
truly, especially as Black women, we have never been afforded the option of resting or leave, yeah, of resting. So there's like on the one hand, like I would really like to reclaim that and I would like to claim that, to reclaim that birthright, but at the same time recognizing, ooh, but this work that you're called to do and everyone that you're building connection with they're telling you that this is
Mhm.
very much needed and it's not going to do its, I mean, granted, if I actually did nothing and didn't decide to pursue my upcoming vision, eventually it would get built, but like but I
It
feel
might
like
be a long time. Yeah.
it might be a long time, and that's literally the difference between me and those that we admire, that we have admired, seeing them on the big stages at Afrotech and whatnot. It started with this problem cannot be ignored,
Mhm.
and so I'm going to do something about it.
Yep, and not wait for someone else. You say, you know what, I can do it. I'm part of the, what did X say? If you can see the problem, you're part of the solution in some way. It's like, so there's sometimes the problems are too big. You have to just pass the buck, because either you're not ready or you don't have the foundation or the resources to do anything about it. But it doesn't mean that you have to stop. You could start gathering those resources, gathering what you need, so that when you've got enough, you go and you tackle that problem. But the other ones, when it comes to your own desires and purposes, hey, you have
Yeah.
everything you need to get that, to make it done. And so we got to make it happen, right? Because no one else is rooting for us that way. We got to root for ourselves.
No, they're not. And like literally just again through us going through this adventure this year, we actually have been setting ourselves for up for success in that regard. Like, like I had a lot of like kind of false I would say like false alarm, not maybe not false alarms, but false starts of like thinking, okay, this is the thing. This is going to be the thing. And it like sometimes I felt kind of like, damn, is she kind of wishy-washy? Because I thought she said she was gonna do like XYZ. But also recognizing that like all of those were part of the plan, all of those were part of the experimentation, all of those were to help kind of guide and direct me towards, that's not quite it. Kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And again, like we haven't not only have we not been afforded the privilege of rest, but we haven't been afforded the privilege of failure, right? Like that's that's
Not with
never been an option for us. It's like there is no try, there is only do. So as much
us.
as like would love to say that all the things that I started building this year like just took off and whatnot. That wasn't my reality, but that's not something I need to be ashamed of. That was for me to understand and to recognize that I wasn't quite ready yet, that there were still some things that I needed to build upon. So like, with that regard, what are the things that you need to set yourself up for success?
Well, one you just started off with is adaptability. Just like you said, not
Yeah.
everything that you try is going to be an instant success or a success period. But it's the being able to adapt to change, learn what you need from whatever failures, and keep going so that next time it's better, right? It may even fail
Yeah.
again, but it's going to fail because of a different reason, not the same one again and again. So that adaptability is really important for resiliency and reinvention. It's okay to change and don't hold on to it. Embrace that change and embrace that difference. That goes with that growth mindset also, because when you think of growth mindset, and you're learning a lot about this, Shy, in your program right now. It's just that everyone has a capacity to learn, to be opened, but if your mind is
Yeah.
closed, no amount of learning or knowledge is really going to sink in, because you have already set your mind to close it, to say, I know everything I need to know, and I don't need to know anything else. And I always, my grandmother, a lot of people would say, hey, if you're not growing, you're dying. And so having that closed mindset, which is a lot of people have, but they
Yeah.
don't even realize it because they think they're learning, but they're not. They're only open to their own kind of what do you call, like, narrow ideal of principles and ideas, and anything outside of kind of that, those blinders or that peripheral is not considered worth knowing. So make sure you're keeping that your mindset open. That's going to help you be adaptable, because you see the things that are going on. You're able to react to it versus discard it or not think of it anyway. And then I'm going to let you do a couple as well.
Yeah.
This, right? Be able to utilize the skills and the knowledge that you have. Utilize your support system and your network to find those things and help you again when it comes to resiliency and when it comes to reinventing yourself, so that you have what you need. Because you may have more than you already know, but you haven't looked to the left and the right and inside of you to see what's there, the tools that you can already kind of start developing. So what about you, Shy?
Yes. So of course, definitely the adaptability and the growth mindset. I've got that, like I'm solid there, right? Um, Continuous learning, which I mean, that's already a part of just me in general. Like I've never stopped learning. I've never stopped learning, right? And then also, I know there's a stat out there like Black women, we're the most educated, the most degreed, but it is very peculiar, very such a coincidence, and very peculiar that we're not finding ourselves in the spaces where we actually get to utilize our wisdom
Yeah.
to make, to actually be able to be decision makers in areas where it really would make an impact, right? Not to say that we are not making it, like I don't want to diminish, like there are Black women, like there are so many of us that are doing
Doing
amazing
it.
things,
Yes.
but there is definitely like a discrepancy, and that's part of what my vision is to illuminate these discrepancies of like, how is it that we have this number and there's no pipeline? Like, what is the pipeline for what it is that we're seeking? Why are we finding that the standards are up here for us, and those standards are not necessary like elsewhere? Like something's not aligned. The other the other part is self-awareness. So understanding one's strengths and weaknesses to leverage potential, and to leverage potential and to address areas for development. I think self-awareness is a huge component of being able to change your mindset and your worldview, which is something I really heavily studied and have been heavily studying within my program. So yeah, I would say the continuous learning and self awareness, and then the positive outlook, it, having the expectation. We talked about it in manifesting, asking for what you want and expecting to receive it. But if you don't have that positive outlook or that positive energy, you're not going to be attracting it.
Right. That's right. You get what you put out there. And so if you want positivity, even when it's hard, that's probably when you need to put the most positivity out there, when it's really hard, because it's like that self-fulfilling prophecy. You're going to just keep getting more of what you don't want unless you change that, and actively put out there what you do want. So yeah.
Yeah. And
Mm.
then what is it that you gain? Like, so if you like take these steps, if you take these steps, and you start to like own these practices, like what is it, what are the benefits of resilience and reinvention?
There's three that we really, really, really like. It's emotional well-being, it's your physical health, and then that improved problem solving. So one, when you know who you are, you know what you want, you are better able to just to move through the world. You again, you know what you will and won't stand for, you know what your purpose is, and you know the strength that you have, and to be able to carry out and do the things that you want to do. That in turn helps your physical health, because you're not holding, remember we talked about superwoman syndrome, you're holding all this stress and all this pressure and all this responsibility and baggage, a lot of
Yeah.
time from other people, not even from you. That wears on our health mentally, emotionally, physically. And when you are able to again push that out where it belongs, it really does put you in that more a positive and healthy space. And then that improves your problem solving. That goes back to what we were talking about before, is being open-minded, being able to adapt. You can see things, you can change things, and you can move quickly and just kind of be in that state to be able to see a problem and also look for a solution.
Ooh,
um,
what I'm hearing from that is emotional intelligence for
that
sure.
part. That part.
The emotional intelligence. And that's something I know that we spoke about. I think it's called Color and Emotional Intelligence, a book
Yeah,
that we have recommended but have not yet had the privilege of reading. I
yeah,
definitely foresee that being actually read next year,
me too.
because I found myself at the beginning of my program. We were studying all these different things within human behaviors and within organizational psychology. And the thing that kept coming up for me was hurt people hurt people. And
That
just that, like that universal truth of hurt people is probably why so many things exist today, both good and bad, because people who were hurt by hurt people have used that trauma and that pain to ensure that they are not repeating that same cycle, or that they're helping others that have experienced that. And then ooh, I just lost my train of thought. That's the first.
uh, no, I
That's
love that cycle. I was doing that circle because that is that circle, right? It's that trauma circle. You're hurt, so then you hurt someone, and then that person hurts. It just keeps going like this never-ending cycle. And when you said emotional intelligence, they used
yeah.
to kind of, because I come from leadership development in the kind of people world and people management. They used to say, you know what, your IQ was going to get you really far in life, right? And now
Yeah.
they're turning on that and going, you know what, actually emotional intelligence is going to get you a lot further in life, because emotional intelligence is helping you, one, regulate yourself, but also understand and empathize with other people, be able to talk and communicate with them. So that emotional intelligence, it is more highly rated than your IQ, because we know a lot of smart people that cannot communicate.
Yeah.
They don't feel, they don't care. They just know their numbers and their intelligence, and that's it. They don't share it, they don't do anything. But you have people that care, and they're the ones that are actually making the strides and building leaders and building other people. Again, talking about that trauma circle, there's a
Yeah.
care circle, right? Cared for people care for other people. Cared for people take
Yes.
people, those people take care. That becomes their cycle. So you can have a trauma cycle, or you can have that care of other,
I love that.
right? And so both happen. It's up to us.
And I do feel like, so emotional intelligence is the gateway to cultural intelligence.
Yeah,
It's also a gateway into spiritual intelligence. And like the focus of my work, again, I hadn't anticipated that the focus of my work would be so heavily leaning into the biggest hot topic of now, which is DEI.
yeah,
But when I think about the hurt people hurting people, when I
I
think
heard it.
about the emotional intelligence, which requires empathy and self awareness, which also requires seeing those that you have strategically undervalued as being worthy of you
That
practicing your empathy and you practicing your self awareness. Like all of these things are very, very interconnected. And something that I'm predicting and something that I will be exploiting is if you look, so you know how it's like if you don't get your purpose, have your purpose, someone else will build it for you. I'm also on that same energy for us, right? And our liberation. And that is
inspiration.
and that is definitely like if you want to continue choosing to be emotionally unintelligent and
Mm,
culturally unintelligent, then you are not going to be able to be connected with our brilliance and our talent pool and the gifts that we bring, to the spaces.
that
I because it times are changing right now. Like I can't we can't underemphasize that times are changing, lines will be drawn. And so
yes.
like little did I know that us building our resilience and reinvention wasn't just for us, but it
Mhm,
is for this very like growingly aggressive time that we are like moving towards, right? um
mhm.
like we have to be on our A game because this entire time we have actually lacked the strategy for this long game that has already been set in motion.
That part. So while you're at that, should I talk about what are some strategies? Because you're using some well, we're going to be using some for some of the things that we have moving forward. But what are strategies for just making sure that we stay resilient and we keep reinventing ourselves?
So definitely the mindset shift. So changing how we think about challenges can significantly enhance resilience and reinvention. Just like kind of a quick example of that. When I was doing my studying for my literature review for human behaviors, like I kept as I was learning all of these different things, I was trying to figure out how do I make organizations do inclusion better or do DEI better, right? Like I was trying to solve the problem the same way that others had been solving the problem, which is through the lens and through the permission of those who don't see the problem to begin with, right?
And
Or they
so,
see the problem and they're like, we don't actually want to change it because we know that to actually solve the problem, it would require things that people are not ready for.
that
I saw like an article the other day, someone shared on LinkedIn the other day. DEI isn't dead. It was never alive to begin with. And it was talking about like like basically like the curtain call, like it was a performance and now the curtain call has come up, which again, very tied to the work that I am going to be doing, but it was illuminating that if it is easy for you to say we are divesting from DEI, you weren't actually really doing it to begin with. Because what does that actually look like? That just looks like you turning off all of the performative things. That looks like you not I don't know if that looks like you being less diverse in your marketing to get employees to come to your company, or you keep that on, or is it that you stop doing your cultural like events, or does it mean that you stop looking at the metrics to see if any progress has been made? Does it mean that you go back to your default practices of not hiring divert? Like, does it mean that you start demoting? Like, what does that mean? What does that really, what are we doing? What does that actually mean, right?
And for all the people of color that are already in those organizations, what does it mean for them? Does that mean that they're not going to get developed? Like you said, are they going to not just act like they're not there? So
And
it's
how
like,
should that be interpreted? How should they be interpreting that? Do you
exactly.
like,
You're
do you that's
right.
the part for me. So then I started thinking about like the other side. What if we started empowering ourselves? What if we understood that actually it's our call,
Mhm.
not the other way around, not the other
Yeah.
way around. So that was a big mindset shift for me. And in order for me to get this off of the ground, what I'm building is it requires building a support network, which is something that I've been doing. And it's something we learned about at Afrotech when we listened to Morgan. It was Morgan, and does her name escape me? But she was talking to this like seven-figure CEO who was telling us like she doesn't put herself around people that are going to be naysayers, that are going to be um
I know.
trying to talk her out of doing
Mhm.
what she feels convicted to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've been curating my circle, leveraging mentorship with my buyout mentor, who has been telling me, like, once I revealed my vision to her, she's like, you absolutely need to be doing this, and here's some things to consider. Again,
Mhm.
going back to the 4 types of support systems that we talked about in episode 2, then building that community. And then my favorite part of this is celebrating vulnerability.
Oh,
I
yep.
think celebrating vulnerability is so essential right now, because we've been taught the exact opposite until now.
Right. Yep.
We've been taught that optics are everything. Fake it till you make it. It's
Yep.
all about the material. It's all
Mhm.
about the physical. But we've
Mhm.
also learned that that's all a facade.
It
That
is.
is all a facade. And if we don't start getting real and
Yeah.
start getting vulnerable about what we need and advocating for what we need, we are not going to. Not only will we not survive, we will definitely not be thriving.
That part we won't. We won't at all. Oh, I love
And then
that.
I know that there's one more, so I'll let you hit that one.
Just the self-care. And we have talked about, we had our whole episode on self-care. So we know that we can't,
Yeah,
the work's always going to be there, but we won't be there if we don't take care of ourselves. That is the main kind of part of self-care, is that if you want this legacy of things you want to happen, you got to make sure you're around for it. That means honoring your body, taking time to listen to it, to rest, to nourish it, to love on it when you need to. And when your body says stop, you stop. Don't let yourself get run down and get sick, and so you're forced to stop. But listen to yourself, right? Also, your emotional maintenance. We talked about your
yeah,
support groups and not letting negative people take your energy. Curate that
yeah,
circle and that support group so that the people that are in your circle are there for you. They are team you. They are not hanging
yeah.
on to just see if you make it, or they can ride on your coattails. They are there for you, but you are in turn are giving something. It's a give and a take relationship, right? So if you've got people that are vampires just sucking all your energy, you need to go on ahead in 2025
Yeah.
to the curb, where they say to the left, because you don't need it. You need that
Yeah.
emotional maintenance, and that is a big part of taking care of yourself so that you are strong enough to handle the things that you need to handle. And then that spiritual grounding and protecting your peace. That's part of that network. And they're especially 2025, y'all. I know it's gonna test us on this protecting your peace, but we have to, when I think about protecting my peace, I have to go with, because I can watch the news and get mad at things that I cannot control. So for me, protecting
Yeah.
my peace is really about what is in my sphere of control and my influence. And I may not be able to do something, on that global national level, but I can take it down to my level, my family, my network, my community, and say, how can I create change here based on what I'm seeing there? And
How
then
do you create the cycle of care?
there you get that cycle of care and these spaces of peace and love to help everyone else around you protect their peace too. And so when evil gets working, good has to get working even harder, right? And so
Yeah.
that's that. But it's knowing what you can control and only control what you can and let go of what you can't. So it's not messing with your peace. Because y'all, there's enough things going on in the world right now where all of us would never be able to sleep and be worried, but we can't
Whew.
control everything. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel like with that, that is an excellent, excellent, excellent segue into where do we go from here? We've done these 12 episodes. We've gone through this journey. We've picked up so many lessons along the way. We have experienced so many miracles along the way. We have accomplished milestones and surprised ourselves, and have grown in ways that we never could have envisioned and could have imagined. What are we going to be doing with all of this?
Ooh.
Do you want to spill
No,
it?
I think
Or
it was your idea, so I say you spill the tea.
yes. So when we were preparing for this episode, Tamika and I I have my little like methodology of having like the file folders. And again, even though like we have the list of what these episodes were, I think again, like sometimes it's about that mindset shift or that like the perspective shift, right? I'm making my folder called Resilience and Reinvention, and I'm looking at that with the titles of the other folders, and I'm like, girl, this is a whole book.
Yes, it
This
is.
is like literally what we've been doing. Like, we knew that we needed to take these steps to help ourselves. We knew that we made this our last episode, but little did we know just how interconnected and how intentional and how aligned it was that we would be learning this again so that we can bring you along on the journey. So this is what you can expect from us next.
Yes.
These episodes were just the starting point. These were us with our lived experiences, understanding what works and what doesn't work. And now we get to present this to you in a new way. We get to turn this into a book, but we also get to make this actually more. Now we get to focus more on that interactive piece of it, of really solidifying this, because these are all universal concepts. Like, this isn't something that we just leave in 2024. No, there are
No.
people who are at the start of their journey, people at the middle of their journey, and I know that they can benefit from these lessons and from the valuable resources that we've gathered. And I know that we have a way of then connecting our viewers and women who have been taking these lessons and applying it to their small businesses that we can amplify. We know
Yeah.
that we can also bring this into our event planning
Yeah.
and the retreats that we want to do.
Yes.
And I'm just like, I'm
Yeah.
so excited. Like, we don't have all the details yet, but I just know if we were able to accomplish this,
Yeah.
like literally like starting a podcast from scratch that wasn't just going to be talking about like reacting to the news, but like this was like us
Real
holding
stuff.
ourselves accountable and real stuff. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like we're unstoppable with
So we
what the
are. So
impact that we're
y'all
going to
be
be able to continue to make.
Yeah, so just 2025, just look out. There's going to be a book coming. The book will have all of the chapters, but you'll have resources. You're going to have our check-in questions. You're going to have the other amazing resources and insights that we gathered along the way, as well as other
Ooh,
research that we're going to include. We also want to come to your city, so look for us in your city, because we're going to be doing some
yes.
interactive things where we're gonna pop up, do some of these workshops, hear from you, have speakers, be able to connect businesses and entrepreneurs and women in these circles. But then also, like, annually, maybe annually, some kind of retreat to just bring us all together and have
And celebrate each other.
celebrate each other, right? But also not just leave that retreat and never see each other again, but keep that connectedness, right? So we're building that community, and so we are being those centers of hope and peace that we want out there in the world for others, and we're
Yeah.
continuing that circle of care, right, or that cycle of care. So we're very excited. We will stay tuned, and we promised you we was gonna pop some bubbly.
Yes.
So
Ooh, did I put myself on? You know what? I got to get my little foil cutter real quick
don't get it
because we
off.
have so much to celebrate. And then even like it's so wild. My birthday is tomorrow, y'all. My birthday is tomorrow and I'm going to be and
No,
and
you're
yours is
good.
the
December
20 and
11th.
yours is the 22nd.
11 and 11. So it's
And
like 11 and 22. You add the other half. It's like, Shy, you're my missing half.
oh, I love that.
Yeah,
And
my 11
also
and
and then this birthday is I've been saying I'm 21 for the second time, like, or I'm 21 twice.
there you go. Yes.
Girl, I am not the champagne bottle opener, just full transparency. So ooh, the way my nerves is working right now.
That's why I did
but I
my
said
before.
I said I was
Not
gonna
about
do
to pop
this.
I was not about to
And
pop
then I've
mine.
got
Big old mess.
I've got my little champagne flute here, what is it,
Yay.
stemless?
Mm-hmm.
I always get so nervous about this. Like, I don't know why I think that it's going to
I stand
like
back. He's gonna pop in my eye.
not towards my expensive windows, like
No, no.
not towards the light. Oh my god, girl, I'm nervous. Okay. Can I do this? Ah! Wait, it's
There you go.
we did it! Oh girl!
You gotta say
Look, oh my
bottoms
god,
up.
no.
Well, cheers. Cheers to an
Cheers.
amazing 2024. I'm so glad that you were my partner along this amazing journey, and I can't wait to see where the rest of this is going to take us for 2024. I'm sorry, for 2025, 2026, and beyond. Because, baby, we making that dream come true.
We are. And thank you so much for riding with us and being a part of this journey.
Yes.
Salud. Salud.
Love it, love it. Thank you all. We hope you have some happy holidays and a new year that's filled up with fun and with possibilities. And look for us because we'll be there right with you, bringing you some new possibilities. So thank you all.
All right, everyone. Bye.
Here's how to connect with me for any of your business or educational consulting needs.
Here's how to connect with me for any of your business and individual needs.
We hope you connect with us on Facebook and Instagram.